Okay, hi everyone. I'm just going to do a quick video. I don't think it's going to be a quick video. I'm going to run through the basic operation of JavaScript, and it's kind of like a little example that we can follow along with. So I'm going to start with nothing and build up an example. I'm going to use the example that we did in class, which is the video editor to swap in the YouTube videos, okay? And we'll just talk through what's involved with using JavaScript, how to use the document object model, how to pinpoint elements on the page, and how to start to work with it, okay? So I've added two things to Brightspace. One is a week 9 examples video. This is kind of like I'll call it a blank starter project that we can use in this video tutorial, and that's some content that we're going to need for it. Okay, it's basically the descriptions and the links to the YouTube videos. Okay, so we can cut and paste those when we need them. So first and foremost, I'm going to download this zip, and I'm just going to set myself up. Okay, so I'm doing it on Mac, but that makes no difference. Okay, I'm going to go to my downloads. There it is there. So I'm going to take it. I'll do it. I'll show what I'm doing instead of doing keyboard shortcuts. I'm going to come back over here to web dev, and I'm going to just put it somewhere. Okay, so my week 9, whatever. Okay, that's actually hard to read. I'm going to put underscores in. My week 9 lab. Okay, and then I paste my zip, paste item. I extract my zip, right click, extract, whatever system we're on, and this is what we get. Okay, okay, cool. So there's an assets folder already there, saves me setting it up. So I'm going to use Visual Studio Code to create my project. So I'm literally just going to go file open, or you can drag the folder. See, it's called week 9 examples. Just drag it and drop it. That just opens it. Okay, so open the folder and it's game on. Okay, so you can see there now we have index.html and we're ready to go. Let's see what this looks like. Before we start, I don't know what this opens with. I think it's Chrome. Cool. Next video. So click on the things. So if I click next video, it should play the next video. If I click the erase and looping button, it should play the erase and looping video. So we have videos. Okay, so we have 5 videos for random letters, strings as arrays, check whatever. These are just some of my old Scratch videos. So fine, and then when someone clicks close, I want the video player, which is just my iframe, to disappear, and if there's any description that's linked with it, I want that to disappear. So that's what I want to do. Okay, brilliant. So I suppose the $1 million question is, what's JavaScript? So JavaScript is a scripting language that gives us the ability to control the content that's on our page. Okay, so everything that's on the page, so it's basically everything that's in the browser. So when the page loads, it kind of follows what's called the document object model. It's like a hierarchy where we might see our HTML tags. We have our root element, which is our HTML tag. We'll move to what will be the head that contains the link, and some of our titles, CSS, some of our scripts, whatever it might be. Okay, all contained within the head section. On the other side of that, we have our body tag, and that contains all of the elements that are literally placed on the page. So JavaScript has control over that. Equally, any of the styling that's associated with these elements, Java has access to that. So via the document object model, we can control anything. Okay, so that's kind of what I want to start to show first and foremost. Okay, so that's my page, which is really nice. I want to see how my JavaScript is getting on. So I'm going to use kind of like what we call the browser developer console. So I'm in Chrome. You can do it in Firefox, you can do it whatever you want. Okay, so I'm only using Chrome mainly because the page opened in Chrome. So right click inspect, opens it, or you can go view developer, and we we can pick out what we want, okay, developer tools or whatever. So I usually just kick this off with right click, inspect. Nice. Okay, so if I was trying to find something on the page, I can inspect particular elements. Okay, hold on, see, wait till that goes blue, see? Then I'm going to come in here and start clicking on things. Okay, so I'll click on that and you can see that it's going to pinpoint things for me. Okay, I was trying to get the iframe. I'm just doing a bad job of picking it. I'll just take a button. I'm just trying to show just what I can pinpoint. Okay, so there's one of my buttons. Okay, so that's what I can start to do. That's not what I'm using this for today. I'm interested in console. So any little JavaScript errors or any console.logs that I put in as part of my debugging are going to appear here. Okay, so maybe that's the first thing that we'll do. It might be a console.log hello world message. Okay, so back we go. Now I know in class on Tuesday we typed our JavaScript in here. Okay, so on the page. I'm not doing that today. I'm going to do it proper. So I was a little bit pressed for time on Tuesday. I'm actually pressed for time now, but I'm doing this correctly. So I'm going to create a new file. Oh no, hold on, maybe I'm not. Let's go into assets, scripts. So there's nothing in scripts, okay? So I'm going to create a new JavaScript file called site.js in the scripts folder, okay? So let's see how I got that again. So I clicked on assets, I click on scripts, I go file, new file, there it is, file, save as. Okay, it's not helping me out, so I have to go assets and then click scripts and make sure that it goes into scripts. Okay, this is, I'm going to double check this. This is too important. So I'm going to call it site.js. Save. Okay, so how do I test this? When I go back to my file explorer, so you can see here that there's our week 9 examples video. There's assets. There's scripts and there's site.css. It's in scripts. If it's not, we've wired it up correctly and we need to go back and address that. So just be careful with that, okay? Actually, if I do my console.log and it doesn't appear, then we'll know anyway. But I'm just saying, just be careful with it, okay? So console.log is like a little, it's a log message that just appears in console. Doesn't appear on the page. Console.log, and we are going to say hello world. Hello. Okay. I don't know, there's a bit of an echo in the room. I don't know if anyone else can hear that. Maybe it's just me. Cool. So there's my JavaScript page. Now, I need to tell my web page how to find the JavaScript. Okay, so I'm going to come right down here after style. I'm going to say script. So script tag. So when I was doing CSS, I did link href and picked out the CSS file. When it's JavaScript, it's script and S or C. Okay. So I'm going to go into assets, scripts, JavaScript. Okay. Okay. So perfect. There we go. So it's on the page. Let's save that. I'm doing keyboard shortcuts, but I really need to just show people what I'm doing. Okay. So Control S would have been my crazy keyboard shortcut. So I'm going to come back here and refresh. Excellent. Okay. Hello world. If you're not seeing this, double back on the steps. Okay. So that's what we should have right now. So that's brilliant. So what does that tell me? This tells me that I've wired my script file, my JavaScript file, correctly onto the page. That link has been set up correctly. Okay. So while it doesn't seem like I've achieved a lot, I've set myself up perfectly. Okay. So I keep saying this and I'm going to keep saying it again and again and again. Oh yeah, okay, I'm getting confused when I'm reading examples with Java. Do something small, go watch it. If it's not doing what we want, we haven't done it correctly, but do things in small steps. It's going to really help with debugging, okay? That's my ultimate tip for just coding. It's nothing got to do with JavaScript. This is just general, okay? So it really just helps kind of breaking things down into smaller pieces and moving with it. Okay, so I'm going to do this the whole way through this video and try and show what I mean with that. Okay, back we go. Okay, cool. So we want to be able to create our little video player. So I'm able to click on the button, so you can see I have all the buttons on the page, and then I have my iframe here. Okay, so the iframe has a source, src, and this is the YouTube video that we're currently playing, which is one of my Java videos from years gone past. So fine, great. Where do we start? So someone said that we have 5 videos and 5 descriptions. Oh, okay, let's see the description first. So maybe before we start launching into it, let's see what we mean with this, okay? So I have an element on the page that has an ID called description, okay? So an ID is an identifier. There should only be one unique instance of this on the page, i.e. there should only be one element on the page that has an ID called description. Okay, fine. If I want to put another element on the page, I can call it a different ID. If I want the same element to have multiple versions of it, i.e. multiple description values on this particular page, then I don't use ID, I use class. So that's the difference of classes, multiples, ID is unique. The unique piece helps us out with JavaScript, where we're able to pinpoint one particular element on the page to display it. Okay, so I'm going to say this. What am I going to say? It's a multi-threaded client socket server using Java. So that's the video, okay, nothing got to do with JavaScript. Okay, so I'm just going to show this. I'm going to try and show this. So I'm going to get rid of that, my friend there for a minute. Refresh the page. I have a description. So before we launch into solving the problem, which is clicking buttons and doing crazy things, let's see how I can control this element on the page with JavaScript. Okay, so now I have an element on the page that has an ID of description. How can I start to control this? Okay, so I'm going to add a new button in, and I'm going to call it demo. Maybe I'll put it above close. I'm going to call it JS demo, JavaScript demo. Okay, whatever. Okay, don't mind. Okay, add the button to the page, go back, refresh, make sure it displays correctly. That's perfect. Okay, so now it's time for some JavaScript. So back to site.js. Okay, so I'm going to introduce functions right now, and we'll use it throughout the video. So a function is a block of code that can be called on demand to perform a particular task for us. That's pretty much what it is. So it's just a code block, but we can basically use this block whenever we want. Okay, so that's just a very simplified version of this. Okay, so to create a function in JavaScript, you use the function keyword. So I'm going to say function update description. Okay, so we give the function a name. So that's how I'm going to access this code block. Okay, so that's the name. It's a unique name. This is the name of this function. Okay, so we put in our roundy brackets, and we use the curly brackets to kind of denote the start of the code block and the end of the code block. Okay, so we can put comments in as well, same as C. And the function, whatever it might be. Start of function. And it goes on, okay. Super. So let's see if this works. Okay, so I don't want to type too much where I go too far down the line and then I realize I have problems. Let's try and do small things. So I've created a function. So I'm going to put a console.log in here. Console.log. And we may as well probably say this is the, I'm going to be lazy. This is the update description function, okay? So I know the hello world works, so I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. Excellent. So how do I call this function? That's the question now, isn't it? So I'm going to go back to my button. So I'm going to leave my function sit there. I just want to, technically I could call the function here, but I won't do it, okay? I'm going to leave the function here and I'm going to kind of do it as event driven. Something will happen on the page and we'll access this function, okay? So I'm going to do this via onClicks. We can actually bind different events in JavaScript to things. Maybe I'll cover that next week. I want to do the simple version of this first, okay? Just to get people up and running, and then we'll evolve our skill set as we go. So button. So I'm going to give it an attribute of onClick. Now this isn't best practices, but it's okay. Okay for now. I'm going to rephrase that, okay? So onClick. So what was the name of our function? So I always typo these. So I'm going to say, come back here, and I'm going to copy the name of my function, just so I don't have any typos. So onClick, oh sugar, I don't want to put it here. It's for JS demo, isn't it? onClick function name. I'm going to put the semicolon in just to, we should, just good practice to do that, okay? Update description is the name of my function. When someone clicks this button, hopefully the function happens, okay? So make sure you've saved all your open files. I'm going to save that. I'm not sure about JavaScript, so I'm going to save that. I'm going to go back. I'm going to drink a bit of my coffee. And then I'm going to refresh my page. Okay. So what am I looking for? A change in console. So make sure you have your console window open and then press JS demo. So click JS demo. Excellent. So you can see now that this is the update description function. So I wired this extra piece in correctly. When someone clicks the button, something happens. Now the something isn't doing much for me, but that's absolutely fine. I'm going to evolve this out as I go. Okay, perfect. I'm going to leave console open, but I might just move it down a bit. I might view, I'm going to zoom out one. Just to give me some, oh, that's me. Okay, so I just wanted to see the description. So I literally zoomed out to 90%, just to see what's going on, which is perfect. Okay, cool. Back to the code. So console.log is working perfect. So I'm going to leave that there just for a minute. When I'm finished with it, I might take it out, okay? So I want to change the element on the page that's linked to the description. So there's a paragraph that has an ID called description, okay? I'm going to copy that, mainly because I don't want to typo it. Okay, so we're going to use JavaScript and the document object model to update the description of this, okay? So this is basically, we're using document.getElement by ID. So we're going to use this a lot. This gives us really good control over the content of a page. So what I want to do is find the element on the page that has an ID called description and start working with it. So it's document dot. So we're getting really good help from our code editor, Visual Studio Code. So get element by ID. Where have we gone? Let's presume it's the top one there. I don't presume, I know, because I can see it says get element by ID. Okay, so get element by ID description is basically pinpointing this element on the page. Okay, so that finds it. Now I have to say what I want to do with it. Well, I want to access its content. So I say dot inner HTML. It's whatever content it has, we'll access it. Now we have to decide what we want to do with it. So I'm going to change it. So it's equals to hello world. So I'm going to change the text on the page to be hello world, okay? So let's run through that one more time. Document.getElement by ID description finds this element on the page. I'm interested in accessing its content, which is this text. I'm going to use .innerHTML to access the text. And I'm going to change that text to be something else. And I'm going to put a semicolon in here. Won't cause an error. JavaScript will help us out with this, but best practice. Okay, so let's save that. Let's go back. Let's refresh. Okay, and let's run our function. Excellent. So we see hello world, and we see this is the update description function. So that's a really nice example of showing what we can do with it. The other thing I could have done with this is I could have got the information out of this if I wanted it, okay? So if there's information on the page, I've access to it, okay? So I'm going to create a new, I'm just doing this as a demo, okay? Just in case anyone's interested. I'm going to say var temp, temporary variable called temp, var temp is equals to document dot get element by ID description inner HTML, and then we'll maybe console.log that. Console.log. I'm just showing what we can do with this. Okay, temp. So it's basically I'm hoping to get the information from this paragraph, which is multi-threaded client server socket, whatever, and I'm hoping to console.log it here. Okay, so I click JS demo. Now you can see multi-threaded client server socket using Java. In my code, I've taken the information from the page, which is the content of the paragraph, and stored it into a variable called temp. So now I could manipulate this, I could do something with it, I could swap it, I could change it. There's the possibilities are endless. Okay, so that's really interesting. Cool. I'm going to leave that there. Not really relevant to our solution, but absolutely fine. Okay, cool. So hold on, let's see. Let's try and finish this now. 20 minutes and we'll be done. Okay, cool. Back to Brightspace. So, page content for video demo. So, there's my 5 videos. There's my 5 descriptions. If we were in on Tuesday, we would have seen this. If not, we're just going to do it again. Okay, so I'm going to literally copy this. So I'm going to go back to my editor. There's my function. I'm going to do this up at the top of the page. Mainly because I want to be honest. Okay, so there's my information. So what I want to do is, I want to store this information in an array. So I want an array of videos and I want an array of descriptions. Okay, so I could have probably done this as a 2-dimensional array or whatever I want. I'm keeping my life simple. So I'm going to have one array that stores the videos, and I have one array that's going to store the descriptions. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to put this in as a comment first, mainly because I want to work with it later on. Okay, so how do I create an array? I'm going to say var, what will I call it? Video list. Video list is equals to an array of 5. Okay. There goes my phone. Okay, so this should hopefully seem very similar in structure to C. So video underscore list square brackets of 0 is the first item in the list, and I'm going to set it to something. Okay, well, what's the something? Well, it's going to be this. I'm just going to be a little bit lazy because I have 5 items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now it's just a cut and paste game. Control X, Control V, Control X, Control V, and we get the idea, don't we? I'll stop saying it out loud. just thinking it in my mind while I'm doing it. And last one. Excellent. Cool. So anyone have any suggestions what we should do now? Well, the answer is we should test this. Okay. So what we might do is do a console.log. Console.log. Okay, what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to display something out from the video list. Maybe what's in position 0. Okay, so just if it displays out what's in position 0 and what's in position 4, that's my 5 videos. Okay, so I go back, I find my page, I refresh. Excellent, see it there, it's displaying. There's the YouTube video. Okay, perfect. Well, what if it's not video 0? How about video 4? Well, I know it works, but I want to see it work. Okay, and there it is, it's changed. Perfect. Cool. Okay, so we're going to do the exact same for our descriptions. Var, what do we call it? Description list. You can call them whatever you want, just as long as it's meaningful. So if someone said to me, what's a video list? Well, it's probably going to be a list of videos. Okay, so we'll do the exact same. I'm going to be lazy. Of 0. And that's equals to set up one blank, and then I'm just going to copy it another 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I just take my descriptions, Control X, and then Control V. Control X, Control V. How am I doing on time? Good, I think. Try not to do a super long video, but I think this stuff's important, so I have no issues if it runs a bit. Okay, so perfect, there's my description list. Now it is time for document. No, it is not. It's time for console.log. Getting excited with JavaScript again. Description list of 0. Okay, back and refresh. Managing a game and rounds and scores in Scratch. Okay, if that's the first one, can I display the last one? Refresh. Oh, hold on. Ah, wow, okay. Excellent. It's about time we got an error, isn't it? Undefined. Interesting. Oh, okay, so I'm not getting what I expect. I'm so happy that I've actually made a mistake for a change, which is great. Okay, so sometimes I'll work my way through these and nothing goes wrong. You learn more when things go wrong. So something's gone wrong and I don't know what. I really don't know what. This works because we've seen it working. Fine. This works because we've seen it working. Everything has worked up until we made some changes. What were the changes? Well, this is all we've changed. This piece here. So there's a problem with this. So this is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm staring at. There's a problem. I know everyone can see it. Okay, hopefully we can. I need to access the list through 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 0 is the first position, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're starting to see maybe why we shouldn't cut and paste. There's no issues with cutting and pasting, but you just have to understand what we're cutting and pasting, okay? So I didn't get the desired result. I came back, I stared at it, I found what went wrong, I made my changes, I hopefully have resolved the issue, and I come back and I refresh, and it's saying managing a game and scores. That's perfect, okay? Right there. Okay, so maybe let's display what's in position 0 to see something different. And we come back and we refresh, and this is a super example, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now we're back in the game. Brilliant. Okay, So let's go back to our page and start solving the problem. Okay. Which one will we do first? Maybe I'll just do the next button. So when someone clicks the next button, I want to play the next video. Yeah, okay. Cool. We'll go back to our code. We're already in the code. So I'm going to come down here and create a new function. I'm going to call it next video. I'm going to call it get next video. Yeah, makes more sense. Okay, I like that. So if I like it, I'm going to go with it. Excellent. So I'm going to put a comment here. Function to swap a video source on the page. I'm going to put in brackets iframe. Okay. Get next video. Okay, so let's just figure this out. So what do I want to do? I'm going to go back and look at this. And get my friend out of the way. Oh no, I'll leave him there. So when someone clicks next video, I want to go back to my list. I want to go back to my list of videos and play the next video. And equally, I want to get the next description as well. Okay. Okay, fine. So let's hard code one of these first. Okay. So there's an iframe on the page, view word wrap. There's an iframe on the page that has an ID of video. So I'm going to be able to use document.getElementById to pinpoint this element on the page. And what do I want to do? I want to change its source. Okay, that kind of sounds very familiar to what we did with the description. So I'm feeling confidence is high today. So I'm just going to go for a document dot get element by ID. I think it was video. I don't believe it, so I go back and check. ID is video for the iframe. So we're interested in working with the iframe. Dot we're interested in its source. Okay, so document at get element by ID video.source is equals to. So we're literally going to change the source attribute of the video to give it a new value. Okay, so I'm going to take a loan of one of these. Yeah, oh yeah, they're all different. Okay, so these are all scratch videos. So I'm going to hard code one in here. Okay, fine. So I found the video on the page via document.getElementById. I'm accessing its source to be a new video. Excellent. Okay, cool. I'm going to put my end function comment in just to make it clear what's going on. Eventually we won't need this, but that's fine. Okay, so I go back to my index. So when someone clicks this, oh sugar. When someone clicks this, we're going to do an onClick and we're going to run our function. I've forgotten what I've called my function, so I'm going to go back, copy its name, come back in here and paste it in. Just don't want to typo it, okay? So when someone clicks next video, we're going to run the get next video function, which is our block of code. And this is going to change the video source, and we should see this happen. Make sure everyone's saved. I'm doing that with Control S just to speed things up a bit. Run this and click next. Oh wow, that's so cool. Okay, so that's changed for me. So that's worked. Okay, so let's change. So that's really good. I'm really happy with that. Let's see, can we take this a step further? I'm going to come back to my code. Instead of hard coding this in, we already have this information and it's stored in the list. So this is video 0. This is the first video. So I should be able to access this via the video list. So I want what's in position 0. So I'm literally accessing the information that's stored in my array. Okay? So that's my change. Save, back, refresh. Now let's see if this works. Next video. Oh, that's working. That's absolutely amazing. This is brilliant. Okay? Do you know what? It'd be really cool. I think I should be able to change the description as well. Okay, so let's do that. So document dot get element by ID. I think it's called description. I can see it up above. I should have just copied it. Dot inner HTML is equals to. Well, where does the description live for video 0? That's in description list. So description list of 0. Okay. So I save that. So I refresh. So it's just my multi-threaded whatever. Then I click next. Oh wow, this is great. This is my Scratch video and this is my example. Okay? So that's brilliant. So the only thing I need to actually do this to get the kind of next working is I need to, instead of starting here at 0, I need a counter. I need someone to remember what video we're playing. So I'm going to say counter is equals to, so it's outside the function, okay? Ideally, I'd probably put this at the top of the page. I'm just going to put it here just to show what's going on. So it's going to set counter to be 0. Okay, so instead of saying 0 here, I'm going to say counter. And counter. So for the first time someone does this, counter will be 0. Okay, so save that. We keep saying we're doing small things, so let's do that. Oh, brilliant. Okay, that's worked. This is great. Okay, watch this. I'm going to click next video. Next video. That's the same video. Oh, okay. Weird. Now, I think I know what's going on. So I've played video 0. Now, once I've played video 0, I really need to move on to the next video. So I just increment my counter. Counter is equals to counter plus 1. So we save that. I refresh. Okay. Next video. This is a super example showing how to use arrays and loops. Okay. And I can see it has Scratch video 1. That's the title of it. Okay. That's just YouTube. Next. Scratch video 2, picking out random letters. Scratch video 3, treating a string as an array of characters. Okay, yeah, cool. Check if an array, yeah, okay. That's video 4. Next. Rounds and scores, yeah, that sounds great, cool. I wonder what's next. Oh, undefined. It's happened again. Okay, so what happened? Let's go back and think about it. We've gone from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. So we tried to access the list to get the 6th item, which should be in kind of position 5 of our list, but there is nothing here. Okay, so we need to kind of do a little test. We're going to say that if, so it's basically still same as C, just an if statement. If counter is greater than 4, especially we've moved on to 5. Okay, we're outside our bounds. We'll say counter is equals to 0. So we basically loop back around again. Okay, so I'll refresh that. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back to the start. And now I can just keep going around in circles. Okay, so no errors, no bugs, just keeps working. Okay, super. So what we should do now is for each one of these, I should be able to create a function to just play that particular video. Okay, So the idea would be that I will create, maybe I'll do one and let people have a go at this and see if you can come up with cleverer ways of doing it. Okay, so I'm just going to do this one by one. I'm going to say function. I'm just going to actually, you know what, I'm just going to do a little bit of it and let you have a go yourself. So function play first video. Okay. Now, literally, we already have the answer to this, which is what's here. Okay, changing the source, changing the inner HTML, and accessing the information from the list. Okay, so if I'm interested in the first video, then it's pasting this in here, setting my counter to 0 and 0. So I'm accessing the information from the lists above, getting what's in position 0, which is the first video and the first description. And then I need to go back to my button, give it an on-clicking event that's pointing at the play first video function, and then test if it works. Okay, so I want you to have a go at this. You have everything that's needed to get this up and running. Okay, so this was just to show how JavaScript works, how it operates, how it uses the elements on the page, how we can create variables and lists to store our information, and then how we can manipulate the content via functions, which are called on demand via on-click events that we've placed on the page. Okay, so hopefully this is useful. I think it's really interesting. I think this is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love working with it. I even like just doing these little demos. But if anyone's any issues or any questions, just let me know. Okay, don't be stuck. So just if you're working on it and you just have bugs, we can deal with it in the lab session. If you're not in the lab, just send Jonathan an email. He'll definitely help out. Okay, thanks guys. I'll talk to everyone soon. Okay, bye.